Welcome in, welcome in. It is another Power Hour. Today is Wednesday, January 4th. Thanks for listening this morning. Your online station for 90s and 2000s rock is The Planet. Listen to theplanet.com. You can download the App Store, Google Play. Search for Listen to The Planet. Also got Alexa. Enable the Planet Online skill, then say, Alexa, play the Planet Online. Also on TuneIn Radio, search for Listen to the Planet, and on the iHeart platform, search for Listen to the Planet. Many, many ways that you can listen to 90s and 2000s rock, all the stuff that you've been missing, and also ways that you can listen to the Power Hour at 8 a.m. each and every weekday morning. So appreciate you doing that. What are we going to talk about on the Power Hour today, man? We have a lot to talk about. Going to talk about holidays in 2023. Got to figure out when we're going to spring forward. And is it going to be the last time that we're going to spring forward? I thought it was going to be, but I don't think that it is. I'm going to talk about Demar Hamlin again today. I-10 eastbound. Boy, Lafayette around that area was a mess yesterday due to an 18-wheeler striking the overpass. Crazy. Also this morning, Mega Millions prize. How about this? Got an moment. A man forgot his wife at a rest stop, forcing her to walk 13 miles. Albums that turned 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10 years old this year. Brian Koberger, the guy accused of the Idaho murders, and more. So that's all coming up this hour here on the Power Hour. If you're watching along on social media, I ask you to share. We are live on my Chris Logan Facebook page. We're live on my Listen to the Planet Facebook page, and we're live in the Chris Logan in the Morning Power Hour Facebook group. Also, too, you can watch old episodes on the YouTube channel, The Planet Power Hour with Chris Logan. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. We will be coming back to TikTok on Friday morning. If you're not following us on TikTok, it's at Listen to the Planet. Or maybe it's at Listen to the Planet Online. You're gonna see that logo though. But I think I was spreading misinformation. Maybe on Friday morning we may have a special guest on the show. Not sure if I can line them up for Friday or if it's going to be for early in the week. Also got to give a quick shout out to Motor City for powering the morning show, powering our Power Hour. They're at 1111 North University in Lafayette. Great pre-owned vehicles on the lot. Motor City's Bayou Garage. You can check them out. They're on the backside of Motor City. You need to get your oil changed, need some mechanic work. They can do it for you there at Motor City's Bayou Garage. But the holidays are now over. Over and done with. Well, we got Mardi Gras coming up, but at Halloween, we had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas, we had Boxing Day, we had all that stuff. Mardi Gras is coming up in, late February? But I have a list of when holidays are in 2023. So if you want to get a jump on scheduling some time off, maybe you got screwed this holiday season. You wanted to take some time off, but somebody got the jump on you. Well, here we go. 2023, Valentine's Day falls on a Tuesday. St. Patrick's Day, might not take off on St. Patrick's Day unless you have a little PTO. But St. Patrick's Day, a popular day to drink beer. St. Patrick's Day falling on a Friday in 2023. Cinco de Mayo. Get some margaritas. That also falls on a Friday this year. 4th of July, that's going to be on a Tuesday. Halloween is on a Tuesday. And Christmas is on a Monday. New Year's Day also on a Monday. So probably going to be another extended weekend come Christmas and New Year 2023 into 2024. But we got a long way to talk about that. One thing This morning, I don't know why, driving to the office and studio this morning across the big metropolis of Church Point, I guess it was a little after 6. It was still dark outside, and I'm like, when does the time change? When do we spring forward? And we officially do that on Sunday, March 13th. So we're not that far away. And there was a lot of talk last year about that being the last time that we would ever change the clocks, or that our iPhones would change on themselves or change the time themselves. But I was trying to do a little research this morning. It doesn't seem like that was officially passed. If I'm wrong, you want to tell me, that's cool, but I was doing some searching for it, and I don't think it was signed into law. So it looks like we will be spring forwarding in March and then falling back in November of 2023. But I can't wait for that. I'm more of a fan of the longer days, more to do outside. Got time to do things outside if you get back from work late. I'm more of the sunshine later in the day. Also, I did not know this. Did you know that you can eat your Christmas tree? If it's still hanging out at home, don't throw it out. Don't throw it away. You can eat that thing. Hang on, let me find it. Oh, here it is. There was a book a while back about how to eat your Christmas tree. I did not know about this. It came from an artisan baker and a cook in the UK. The book, officially called How to Eat Your Christmas Tree, and it features dozens of recipes you can make using your tree. The author of the book says you can pretty much eat the whole thing. According to the story, the trend kind of picking up steam. Reports this week say that growing numbers of eco-conscious households are eating various parts before throwing their tree out. The author also confirms that it's gaining traction. The needles on your Christmas tree. Now, just by the way, this is for real Christmas trees, not fake Christmas trees. But the needles can be used like rosemary or bay leaves, and they're a good source of vitamin C. They can also be crushed to flavor gin or vinegar, and the wood can be burned to make pine ash, which can be used as flavoring, as fertilizer in gardens, and for cleaning the kitchen. My poor tree at our house, that thing was so dry, and we kept the water in it. I mean, it was so bad. It was piles of needles when we moved that thing. I think probably, I'm not exaggerating here, about 3/4 of the needles fell off by the time we got it out the door. Crazy. I don't know if it was maybe kind of dry at the beginning, but I don't think we ever, and I think this is year 3 or year 4 that we had a real Christmas tree, and I don't remember having this much problems with dry needling, but it was pretty bad this year. Also, if you're traveling Lafayette around I-10, it is totally a mess. Yesterday, an 18-wheeler struck the overpass bridge, I-10 eastbound at I-49. This is from the Louisiana Department of Transportation. It's probably going to be another update today, something you may want to keep an eye on if you're traveling. But I talked to a few people yesterday who were traveling around Lafayette. They said it was horrible. Also saw some posts on social media, of course, saying traffic was horrendous. But this is from dotd.la.gov. And they announced this was as of yesterday evening, the closures on Interstate 10 and Interstate 49 after the Interstate 10 overpass at I-49 was impacted. I-10 in the eastbound direction at I-49 is closed. The 2 inside lanes of Interstate 49 in the northbound direction under the Interstate I-10 overpass are closed. And from what I was kind of reading this morning, it looks like they're looking to open a couple lanes on the thruway. And also exit 1A to access I-10 eastbound is also closed. And you just have to find a way around it. I hate to say it, but you just have to find a way around it. Motorists are encouraged to use alternate routes along I-10 eastbound prior to US 165, LA 26, LA 13, and LA 182. And don't forget, you can dial 511 for more information, or 511la.org. But that was a mess yesterday. Probably still a mess this morning. And I'm sure an update is coming for later on today. Also, it was announced yesterday, the Bills and Bengals game will not be resumed this week. Still not much information about that game. I'm sure all the players and coaches on both teams probably do not want to replay that game. Not sure what's going to happen, if they're going to end it in a tie, or are they going to end up making it up by the end of the season, which is this week. Week 18 is this week. And then playoffs. There was playoff implications in that game. Who would have been the number one seed? It was a pretty large game. Well, it was a big game on Monday night. And then Demar Hamlin takes a hit and needs to be resuscitated back on the field. And man, there's so much going on with that on social media. A lot going on, especially if you're on TikTok. There's some people sharing a tweet of a quote-unquote doctor that said he gave the vaccine to Damar Hamlin on December 26th. And that was posted like hours after. It's things like that. And again, we've talked about this before on the show. Social media gives us another side. We just got to make sure that other side is right. That's all I'm saying. I always said to think. When I saw that, I'm like, there's no way that's a real doctor. Yeah, that account was taken down, taken away. But just looking at it, like why would a doctor post that? It's against HIPAA rules, right? HIPAA violations to even post that. Like that name of that doctor that was on the Twitter account made that tweet wasn't even a legit doctor. Not even the same one. So again, just be aware of kind of what's being put out there. But there's a lot going on surrounding this on social media. Damar Hamlin's uncle gave an update on how he was doing. And he said that Damar is showing improvement, reportedly receiving only 50% oxygen now, down from 100% when he was first admitted, but he is still in intensive care and still sedated. And that was with an interview on the NFL Network yesterday. And then also the GoFundMe account that Damar Hamlin had. Wow. This morning I was reading it was 4. I read it was 5 million. Now I clicked on the link, $6.122 million. And this is for Damar Hamlin's community toy drive. And also I saw a few other people sharing some of this stuff on TikTok yesterday. And again, calling it a NFL children's drive, and why does the NFL want money to give to kids? And I'm like, again, that social media gives us all another side to look at. You just got to make sure that some of the stuff that you don't agree with kind of checks out in a way. Like I saw a video of that going viral. Like it wasn't the NFL's charity. It was Damar Hamlin's toy drive. And he's been doing it. He's been in the league 2 years. The dude was only asking for $2,500 to help with his toy drive. Now, look, Damar Hamlin is not making millions and millions of dollars. Probably making a couple $100,000. Maybe with everything, probably getting close to $1 million. He didn't get his big deal yet. But he was only asking for $2,500. Like it wasn't an NFL children's, again, just always say to think. and just think. And just look at certain things. Don't go exactly with what somebody's going to say. But yeah, wanted $2,500. Now it's over $6 million. Crazy. Also too, heart attack, cardiac arrest. There are some people, man, he had a heart attack on the field. Well, no, he got hit. And then that's up for debate. I guess maybe I shouldn't use the word debate, but I mean, he got hit. Some saying that hit is what caused cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is not necessarily a heart attack. There is a difference in what happened. His heart stopped after the hit. I played you a slow motion hit yesterday, a slow motion video of the hit yesterday. Didn't look bad in slow motion. It looked bad. Hit directly into the chest. Could it be other things? Maybe. Could it be that one in hundreds of thousands, that he just got hit in the wrong spot? Told you that story of the school I went to in Church Point. We had to play we couldn't bring a baseball to school because a kid, I think it was either in the 60s or 70s, got hit in the chest with a baseball and died. And we never understood why we couldn't play baseball till finally we were told that story. So I mean, it happens. It's very, very, very rare, but it happens. Want to win some money? Mega Millions. The 6th largest Mega Millions prize. $785 million. See, this is where people start talking about it now. A few million, 20, 30 million, 100 million, that's not enough. We got to wait till it gets big, big. Then it's going to get big, 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 and then the lottery machine's going to break, and then they're going to have to give it away the next day to only one person. But an estimated $785 million Mega Millions jackpot set for Tuesday night. Wait, that was last night. Hang on, did it win last night? I don't think so. Hang on, Mega Millions. Winner is 783. Yeah, so yesterday, okay, no winner. So now it is nearly $1 billion. Here's an update to that story. My apologies, but it was 785 at last night's drawing. And according to this, no winner. Now it's going to be nearly $1 billion again. Time to go in and get those tickets. Could be worth $940 million. Winning numbers: 25, 29, 33, 41, 44, and the mega ball of 18. The largest jackpot in history, $1.537 billion, scored by one lucky winner back in 2018. Dang, $1.537 billion. Let's see, how does that break down? Let's see, I know they had it on $395 million would be the cash payout, where you get the annuity over 29 years, and then the government gonna get their piece too. Gonna get their taxes on that. Also, an update to the helicopter crash. This is from KATC.com. The helicopter and the bodies of 4 men on board have been found following a helicopter crash last week. A statement from the 3 companies involved, issued Tuesday, stated that the bodies had been recovered. RLC, LLC, Walter Oil and Gas Corporation, and Island Operating Company Incorporated issued a joint statement. They said, quote, "To respond to the incident has been a joint effort involving Walter, Island, and RLC, along with the U.S. Coast Guard and the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement." They went on to say, "We extend our sincere condolences to the families and friends of the pilot and passengers on board the aircraft. They say we will continue to cooperate fully with the agencies investigating this tragic incident, including the NTSB and the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement. And none of the names were released. I know there was one guy from Mississippi. His wife had put something out on social media, and that name was released. But man, prayers for those families involved and everyone who takes those chopper rides, out to the Gulf of Mexico. Here in South Louisiana, it's something that we know a lot about. Odds are there's probably a member of your family that's in the oil and gas industry. But prayers to those families and those 4 men who lost their lives. How about an moment? Boy, this wife was she was fâchée. Very fâchée. Let me explain what's going on. And fâchée means angry. She was mad. But last week, a 55-year-old man in Thailand pulled off to the side of the road in the middle of the night to use the restroom. So he was on a trip. His wife sleeping in the back seat. She was tired. She wanted to stretch out. The front seat wasn't good enough. She went to the back. But after he got out, she also decided that she needed to use the restroom. So the dude came back, got in the vehicle, assumed that mama was still in the back seat out, and drove off without her. He thought she was still sleeping in the back. He drove around 100 miles before he realized that she wasn't there. He was letting her sleep. The poor woman didn't have any phone. She didn't have any money on her. So she decided to start walking on foot because she didn't want to stand around waiting on the side of the road. She walked 13 miles before finding a police station at 5 a.m. in the morning. There aren't any specific details on how they were reunited, but it sounds like police were able to let the man know where to pick up his wife. Like, it's not funny, but funny. He was doing the right thing, letting her sleep till after 100 miles of driving, realized that she wasn't there. Well, could you imagine that? I mean, it's kind of funny, but could you imagine the panic in the husband's life at that time? Where's my wife? Not there. He probably panicked. So he panicked. She was mad. She had to walk. I got to know more about how that reuniting went down. But there's no update as of yet to this story. That's from the Daily Mail, but straight up on that. This is another story. Watch this. I'll pull it up on the screen. It's let me pull it up on the screen. Hang on, we'll make it. Okay, here we go. This story's kind of getting a little bit of attention. This is from KLFY.com, but I saw a few other major networks that have it. But 4 survive after Tesla plunges off California cliff, driver arrested for attempted murder. Now, the first thing I thought when I saw that headline was he had the Tesla in automatic drive or whatever they call it, and something happened and it went off the cliff. And look, if you're watching, you see it. Like, you see this vehicle all the way down the cliff near the water and the rocks there at the bottom of the cliff. But reading the story, the dad did it on purpose. But the driver of a Tesla that crashed off of a bridge in San Mateo County Monday has been arrested. According to the California Highway Patrol, investigators say the man crashed the car, which was carrying 2 young children, intentionally. According to authorities, the vehicle was traveling along Highway 1 near Devil's Slide, a steep coastal 20 miles out of San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. Fell about 250 feet. Firefighters rappelled down the cliff to rescue the two children, 7-year-old girl, 4-year-old boy. The helicopter crew was lowered down to help the two adults, a man and woman, both age 41. California Highway Patrol said that those in the vehicle had serious injuries, but all survived. And then on Tuesday, the California Highway Patrol confirmed that the driver, which is only identified as a man from Pasadena, arrested for attempted murder and child abuse. He is currently being treated for his injuries at a hospital and will be booked into the San Mateo County Jail upon his release. Crazy that he did it on purpose, intentionally. And I mean, that I'm not very familiar with this area, but it's called Devil's Slide. So he may have put a lot of thought into this, thinking that he would do it intentionally, and they would think that it was an accident on this rough terrain. But crazy, man. Glad those that family is in critical, but survived the crash. Also this morning, here on the Power Hour, got a few more things to get to. Zion, Sam Bankman-Fried, also Brian Kohberger, the guy accused of the Idaho murders. It's another crazy, mysterious story. And it kind of gets a little more weirder with this update here. But that's all coming up. But thanks for watching this morning. Thanks for listening on The Planet. Make sure to tell someone about The Planet today. Have them download the app, search to listen to The Planet, App Store, Google Play, or send them to the website, listentotheplanet.com. And if you're watching on Facebook this morning, you can share it. Would appreciate that. Live on my Chris Logan Facebook page. We are also live on our Listen to the Planet Facebook page and live in our Chris Logan Facebook group. Chris Logan in the Morning Facebook group. Also came across this today. Wanted to share it with you. Albums that turn 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10 years old this year. Yep. I'm going to age us. But turning 50, released in 1973, Band on the Run, Paul McCartney and Wings, Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road, Elton John, Aladdin Sane by David Bowie, Queen by Queen, and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, released 50 years ago. Also kind of just hit me that in a couple years, I'll be turning 50. Also turning 40. Check out this list. It's like, what? So turning 40, that would have been released in 1983. The Police. Ozzy Osbourne. War, U2. Def Leppard. Pyromania. And Metallica's Kill 'Em All. Turning 40 as released in 1983. Ozzy Osbourne's Bark at the Moon. So that's probably, let me see. I want to see, I do remember those album covers back in the day. And so I remember at that time I was, 8, 9 years old, depending on, at what point of the year. But my uncle had these Ozzy Osbourne albums, like the vinyl albums. And I remember being scared of them. Like, I didn't want to look at Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Bark at the Moon album cover. Yeah, no, that one wasn't too bad. Watch, I wonder if it's gonna come up. There it is. If you're watching, you can see it. But that's Bark of the Moon. That one wasn't too bad. Which one was the one where he had the bat? But I was still scared of it as a kid. Why? I don't know. Maybe that's why to this day I do not watch any scary movies. That's just not my thing. Was it no, why am I thinking Shout at the Devil? Why can't I think of what it was? Hang on. Ozzy Osbourne album covers. There we go. We'll search that. Oh, there was Diary of a Madman. And you look back now, like looking at it as a upper 40-year-old person, it was so cheesy. But as an 8, 9-year-old kid, it scared me. It was Speak of the Devil, not Shout at the Devil. Speak of the Devil. This one here, watch. I'll pull it up if you're watching. This one. Scared me. Didn't want to see it. But also, my uncle also gave me one of my first albums. Gave me Van Halen's 1984 album. The little kid with angel wings smoking the cigarette on the album cover, right? Remember that one? That's an iconic album cover. But yep, maybe that's why. Maybe that traumatized me. And to this day, that's why I don't like scary movies. But dude, Ozzy Osbourne album covers back in the day, like Flying High Again. He had the big mound of cocaine. Diary of a Madman. What was it? Blizzard of Oz. All that stuff. Is that? Yep. Cheesy. Now you look at it cheesy. But back in the day, it wasn't. What else? So that's albums turning 40. Albums turning 30. Which, again, hits me. I graduated high school in 1993. Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins. Janet Jackson's Janet. Verses by Pearl Jam. Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. Everybody had that cassette. And In Utero, Nirvana. But, dude, the early 90s was just this melting pot of music. The 90s in general, this big melting pot of music. Like, we could listen to Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Pearl Jam and Nirvana, you know, Garth Brooks and George Strait. I mean, you listen to everything. But damn, Doggy Style from Snoop Dogg and Verses from Pearl Jam, 30 years old this year. Turning 20. Just as bad, back from 2003. Beyonce's Dangerous in Love, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, which is what In the Club's on, right? Linkin Park's Meteora. And the White Stripes' Elephant, turning 20 years old this year. Turning 10, you know, not as old, but still 10 years old from 2013. They got a few on here. Drake's Nothing Was the Same. Lord's Pure Heroin. Justin Timberlake. Arctic Monkeys, AM. And Reflector, Arcade Fire. 10 years ago, turning 10. Time passes by so quickly. And I'm sure there's more, but that was kind of like the top ones on the list. Also, Zion Williamson, a little bit of sports news this morning on the Power Hour. Zion out at least 3 weeks with a hamstring strain. I was hoping that he can make it through the season. And it looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks with a hamstring strain. They announced that yesterday. Pelicans said that he will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. Zion injured late in the third quarter Monday night in a loss to the 76ers in Philadelphia. Says after gathering a rebound, Williamson pushed the ball up court. As soon as he crossed the half-court line, he seemed to feel something in his right hamstring. Williamson dribbled to the corner and handed the ball off to teammate Dyson Daniels, grabbing his right leg. They were able to call a timeout. Williamson came out the game, and then he underwent an MRI on Tuesday once the team got back to New Orleans and showed the extent of his injury. Man, I was hoping that wouldn't happen to Zion this year. It's like every year there's something with him. Pelicans are third in the West, right? Still third. I think it's the Nuggets, then the Grizzlies, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong on that. So check that if you will, but I think I'm pretty close. But man, my brother and I went in on some season tickets, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Zion, when was Zion's first year? He ended up getting hurt and didn't play. But Zion played in 29 of possible 37 games this season for New Orleans. He missed 2 games in late October with a lower back right hip contusion after he fell hard against a game against Utah. And in mid-November, he missed 3 games with a right foot contusion after he stepped on Rockets center Usman Garuba's foot on a drive to the basket. And then he missed 3 games around Christmas because of health and safety protocols. But man, he was beasting. He was balling, averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 1.1 steals per game. He was shooting 60% from the field and 71.4% from the line. December, one of the best months for Zion, averaging 29.8 points per game, and he put up a career-best 43 points on December 28th against the Timberwolves. Brandon Ingram out, left big toe contusion. Brandon hadn't played since November 25th. So let's hope after 3 weeks, Zion can come back. But it's funny how these players, man, even football, basketball, whatever, they get these toe injuries, and you think, man, come on, you make millions. You got a toe injury? But I guess it hurts those big men when they get a toe injury. But hopefully Zion can be back, and, hopefully the Pelicans can stay on track without Zion and without Brandon Ingram. Also, this is an update to the Idaho murders. This is a story from Newsweek. And the man accused of the November slayings of 4 University of Idaho students is hurrying his return to Idaho to find out the details of the charges against him in sealed affidavits. That's according to a prosecutor. Brian Koberger, that's his name. He's age 28. He agreed yesterday to be extradited from Pennsylvania, where he was arrested at his parents' home on Friday. That was big news when that happened late last week. He could be facing charges in Idaho. He will be transported to Idaho within 10 days. Investigators say that Koberger broke into a rental house in Moscow, and that's Moscow, Idaho, and then fatally stabbed the 4 students. Brian Koberger is a PhD student, also a teaching assistant in the Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology at Washington State University in Pullman, which is just 8 miles across the border. So he wasn't far away from the scene of the crime. If you're watching, this is a picture of the guy. He's in a suicidal vest. Also, the probable cause affidavit outlining the evidence for first-degree murder and felony burglary charges against Koberger won't be released until after he arrives in Idaho. The affidavit and court documents remaining sealed is a quirk of Idaho law, according to Michael Manusco, first assistant DA. Says, having read those documents and the sealed affidavits of probable cause, I definitely believe that one of the main reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and hurry his return back to Idaho was the need to know what's in those documents. Attorneys, law enforcement officers, and others involved in the case won't be able to discuss the affidavit or other court documents after an Idaho magistrate judge issued a so-called gag order on Tuesday evening, prohibiting officials from talking publicly about the many aspects of the court case, which is going to be outside of the court. Such orders can be issued when judges are concerned that pre-trial publicity could prevent a defendant from getting a fair trial. Jason Labar, the public defender in Monroe County, representing Kohberger for his extradition hearing, says the client was eager to be exonerated. Jason Labar, the public defender, says, quote, he believes he's going to be exonerated. That's what he believes. Those were his words. Jennifer, big last name, a FBI agent, told Newsweek that she believed Kohberger wants to fight the charges against him all the way. She says, if there's strong DNA evidence against him, I think he could take a plea. I think he's waiting to see the weight of the evidence against him, and then he will make a decision. And then the police major, Christopher Paris, said authorities want to transport Kohberger to Idaho as soon as possible. But he said state police would not announce details about the extradition due to security concerns. Dang. That story just gets weirder and weirder and stranger and stranger. But he is a teaching assistant in the Department of Criminal Justice in Criminology. Brian Kohberger, innocent until proven guilty, right? Let's see what happens with that. I mean, but November 13th was when the murders occurred, and it wasn't until last Friday that they arrested someone. There's a lot ongoing with that case. But for college students, hopefully some closure for their family. FTX crypto CEO Sam Bankman-Fried pleads not guilty in a Manhattan federal court. That happened yesterday afternoon. Didn't see much about that. So he pled not guilty to federal criminal charges and was tentatively scheduled to stand trial on October 2nd. Had his kind of puffy hair, dark suit. His mother sat beside him. He did not speak during the hearing. His attorney, Mark Cohen, entered the not guilty plea on his behalf. Pled not guilty on all counts. He has been charged with 8 counts of fraud and conspiracy. Federal prosecutors have alleged that Sam Bankman-Fried orchestrated one of the biggest financial frauds in American history by steering billions in FTX customer and investor money and funneling it to his privately controlled hedge fund, Alameda Research. Pumped a little money into Democrats during the political season. He was living in the Bahamas. Dang, the number of victims of the FTX fraud could exceed 1 million. 1 million victims. FTX was the second largest crypto exchange. Now, before his arrest last month, Sam Bankman-Fried insisted in numerous interviews that he did not know about any improper use of funds for customers of the now bankrupt crypto exchange FTX. Come on, man. Sam Bankman-Fried has been free on bond and subject to electronic monitoring while living at his parents' home in Palo Alto, California. He was living in the Bahamas. That's where they extradited him from, in a multi-million-dollar mansion. They extradited him on December 21st. 2 of his former colleagues, Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang, have pleaded guilty and have agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. Says Ellison, which was a former CEO of Alameda and girlfriend of Sam Bankman-Fried, pleaded guilty to 7 counts. Wang was the co-founder of FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried. He pleaded guilty to 4 counts. Sam Bankman-Fried pleads not guilty on all counts. What do you think is going to happen with that? There's a lot of connections if you go down that rabbit hole. Will anything happen or not? I don't know. Could we see a new COVID variant? XBB.1.5, which is a Omicron offshoot, could drive a new COVID surge in the U.S. Don't want to hear it. The CDC estimates that XBB 1.5 has more than doubled its share of the COVID-19 pie each week over the last 4. There's a few other variants that have been dominant. Now they're saying this one is the one that's growing. No pun intended. Rising from about 4% to 41% of the new infections over the month of December. In the Northeast, the XBB.1.5 is causing 75% of the new cases. XBB.1.5. Also, the House. The media says the GOP and the Republican Party is in chaos. Or just do some Republicans think that the party needs a reboot and maybe that Kevin McCarthy is just not the right guy to do so? After 3 tries yesterday, Kevin McCarthy still not voted in as the House Majority Leader. Kevin McCarthy is a California Republican. First vote, no. Second vote, no. Third vote, no. And there's a handful of Republicans that are not giving him his vote. I was reading a few things about that today. This handful of Republicans also asking for a few things in exchange for their vote. A few requirements. One of the requirements is that the new House adopt or re-adopt a rule first proposed by Thomas Jefferson that allows members to vacate the chair or remove the speaker, which was in place from 1801 to 2018 when it was eliminated under former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The rule allows any 5 members to call a vote to remove the speaker at any time. This process could be disruptive for sure, but it also makes the leaders of the House accountable, which they have not been. So it's like you got this handful, right, of Republicans that I think are still trying to make a change and trying to bring things back and realizing that maybe the Republican Party needs a new look, needs a different leader than Kevin McCarthy. The second demand that they want would require a Dear Colleague letter that representatives, quote, legislate in a responsible manner on behalf of our constituents. It specifically requires all bills to be presented by lawmakers at least 72 hours before they are required to vote, allowing them time to read the proposed legislation. They also want to return to single subject bill rules requiring germane amendments and a pledge to restore genuine debate. They bring up like the omnibus bill, which was a 4,000-page bill. The third demand is that GOP leadership must stop interfering in Republican primary contests, which some conservatives say weakened some contestants in the 2022 midterms. So some of this that this handful of Republicans are trying to get seems like they're just trying to change a few things. Hey, if the speaker's not doing his job, get him or her out of there. But they like power. They like power. John says, if you ever wonder who in the media is a shill for the establishment, Look at how they respond to McCarthy not winning the House Speaker yesterday. I love watching the gears jam as it should be. That's why they vote. And it's true, there is a vote. There's some that are not, I'll call it playing along. And they want some changes instead of just giving in. You know, the thing is that it's not many of them yet that, you know, want changes and don't want to give in. Still a lot of them in that swampiness, right? They don't want that. They don't want that change. But interesting to see what happens today. The Democrats got a leader yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries. The first black party leader in Congress. Taking over for Nancy Pelosi. Okay, whatever. And he was voted in with pretty much no issue. Age 52, younger part of the leadership for the Democrats. He was first elected in 2012. He will embark on his sixth term with ambitions to restore the enhanced child tax credit, get his party back to the majority in 2024, and call out what he describes as Republican extremism. And also he wants to rebuild economic access. Rebuild economic access. Watch out for that Republican extremism. Is that extremism not voting Kevin McCarthy in? And also was reading this. I still haven't watched Yellowstone. Have not. I guess I need to. I keep saying that I need to. But actors on Yellowstone and the spinoff shows, the spinoff series that are coming, the actors have to go through a cowboy boot camp. What do they do in this cowboy boot camp? They learn how to ride a horse, they learn how to lasso, and they learn how to use old school six-shooters. Taylor Sheridan, who's the creator of the show, has actors partake in this school, in this boot camp, before filming, so action is authentic. Not a bad thing. The guy who plays Zane on 1923 says, you got to not only ride a horse, but you got to look like you know what you're doing. He says, walking in spurs and chaps, it's a whole different world. You got to have highs and lows together before we started, which was really good for bonding. As adults, it's not easy to learn a new skill. Cole Hauser, which all the ladies like, he's Rip on Yellowstone, mentioned the boot camp back in November. He said that Taylor taught him roping and reining. It's kind of cool that they have to really learn the ways of the cowboy, right? But Cole Hauser, man, I still see him on Good Will Hunting. Chucky. I still see him as the friend of Matt Damon on Good Will Hunting. And that played, I think it was over the weekend. Watched it. That's one of my faves. I'd probably put Good Will Hunting in the top 10. I guess it would be in my top 10. If I can get this to pull up. No, I'm sorry. Cole was Billy. Ben Affleck was Chucky. But still, my favorite part of the Good Will Hunting movie is when they're in that Harvard bar. And Matt Damon gets into somewhat of a intellectual argument with a Harvard Bonnie, as they call him. And then Matt Damon ends up leaving with the girl's number. the guy that he had an intellectual argument with, kind of, I guess, assumingly liked that girl. And while they were walking out the bar, they saw him at a diner. And Matt Damon goes and he knocks on the glass of that diner. He sees the guy standing there and he says, "Do you like apples?" And then the guy says, "Yes." And then Matt Damon smashes the napkin with the girl's number on it. And he's like, "I got a number. How you like them apples?" Funniest part of the movie Good Will Hunting. But it was, man, hard to believe we're talking about albums that turned 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 years old. Hard to believe that Good Will Hunting was back from 1997. Crazy, man. I'm getting old. Minnie Driver was in there. Robin Williams in there. But it's a pretty good movie if you haven't watched Good Will Hunting. What else is on tap? As we got 3 minutes left. Oh, by the way, if you're exercising as your New Year resolution, wanting to move more, listen to music. Listen to the planet. Scientists say that hearing your favorite music ups your energy, reduces fatigue, and makes it easier to walk further. So you can walk longer. You can walk further by listening to music. So if you want to listen to the planet while doing your exercise and while, maybe walking, running, do so. Download the app, search Listen to the Planet, App Store, Google Play, listentotheplanet.com. It's your online station for 90s and 2000s rock. So, man, a lot of stuff this morning. And also this week, some of the morning show prep that I'm using, they're back at it. And I don't use that all the time, because with the morning show prep, a lot of morning shows get the same morning prep. And that's why you hear a lot of the morning shows doing the same topics. Trying not to be that here inside the Power Hour. But a few of the stories that I do grab come from morning show prep. Some of the other stuff I search for over the past couple of weeks didn't have that morning show prep, because most of them take off during the holidays. So a lot of the stuff we talked about over the past couple of weeks, I had to look for on my own, which I do a lot, because we talk about different things and we talk about headlines here inside of the Power Hour. But thank you for listening today. Thank you for watching today. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. We are live on my Chris Logan Facebook page. We're live on our Planet Facebook page. We are live inside of the Chris Logan in the Morning Planet Power Hour Facebook group. Thanks to Motor City for powering the Power Hour and also the morning show. We got a brand new sponsor powering the entire planet, the Bead King. Bead Busters and Float Rentals and Beads Galore and more. 2 locations are better than one. They are your Mardi Gras authority. Between both of the stores, or at each of the stores, they have everything that you need this Mardi Gras season. So go and check them out. Oh, and then also Friday, we'll be back doing a TikTok live. Because I got stopped for spreading misinformation last week. So I got a 7-day timeout. So if you're not following us on TikTok, at Listen to the Planet. Or at Listen to the Planet online, I think it is. But I think 8:34 tomorrow, I'll be let out of TikTok live jail. And then we can resume on Friday. I may have a special guest on Friday. Not a local person. This is a national person. This is a person who was in a rock band, and a guy that's also been getting banned on social media because of the way he thinks. We have been in communication over social media, and he wants to join the show. I want him to join the show. Not really. I want him to join the show because I'd like to know where it all started for him, like where he started getting banned and shadow banned and getting his accounts taken down, where all that started for him. But we'll have more details coming up later this week, if I can get him on the show, or early next week. He says he wants to come on. It's just a matter of getting a date set. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you again tomorrow morning at 8 on the Power Hour, and then 7 on the Planet. Have a great one. See ya.